1. Hello, good evening, and welcome back, everybody, to Dice Illusions and our
Not
ongoing Fool's Landing campaign set in Advanced Dungeons & Dragons 2nd Edition's Forgotten Realms. I will be the Dungeon Master this evening. I'm Jamie, and I'm joined by 4 heroes tonight, who I'm going to have introduce themselves left to right on my screen, starting with Adam. Good evening.
Great. Yeah, I'm Adam playing Bartholomew Adams. He's, I think, still 5th level. He's priest of Lyra.
Yes. Great. Good to have you. And next up is Tim.
I'm Tim. I'm playing Griff. He's a human ranger. 5th level.
Perfect. And next up is Chris. Hello.
Hi there. I'm playing Kurza, a 5th level elven mage.
All right. And then last but not least tonight, we have Wayne.
Hello, I'm Wayne, and I am currently playing the corpse, possibly, of a 5th level cleric of Valkur, my aquatic elf Seharn, who
Yes.
said he might be deceased here, but that we'll find out.
We'll find out. Yeah.
We'll find out.
Here is the latest XP tracking.
Oh,
We did
yeah,
have
new
two level ups. So Gregor and Nod, who are not here this evening, the next time they join us will be a level up, with Gregor going to 4th level and Nod going to 6th level thief. And
Nice.
this is where we were talking a little bit earlier, Kurza, about your current level situation. You're not that far from level 6 relative. It's a big target up there, but you're not that far relative. So if you want to, after you hit that level, change direction, you're welcome to do that. But everybody here should be able to see the latest, greatest. There were some big XP jumps after last session. Last session had a couple of really big developments. How about we do a quick recap of last session for anyone that was here that could take a stab at a summary of what happened last session in the Underdark. And I'll
The
switch.
blackmail of cooperation.
Basically, we decided to cooperate and go with this. What was his name?
Xanthune. Xanthune
Yes.
was the illicit. Yes.
The illicit. Yeah, we decided to trust an illicit because we had no other choice.
After he ate Quig's brain.
Yeah, just the guy who ate a random hireling's brain. He's like, that's okay. We'll go with you. We don't care.
Yeah, it was I wonder if the whole party were here, if we would have gone the same way or not. It's interesting. Sometimes you have the right combination of people to make the decision different. But yeah.
Well, I think we thought we had no choice because he was talking about this beholder, right?
Yeah.
And we figured we're going to have to face it with or without him. So why not have him on our side? And then prayed we could trust him which it turned out we could, but we weren't sure about it.
Yeah. So you ended up agreeing to basically like a negotiation with the Illithid to help him get rid of the Watcher, who is this corpse that you see laying in the background here in the screen now. Is a death kit beholder, basically, who was patrolling this level of the Underdark, and you confronted it. I think the battle was pretty intense. I know that
Griff dived.
You started diving, doing some heroics to try to get this thing down. I think Kurza's tactics of using the wand to convert,
Just collapse the roof on his butt.
yeah, that helped offset things a little bit. And then I think it was unfortunate there were a couple misses on the cliff diving, and those who were laying there in front of the beholder became targets, including Seharn, and he got death rayed by the beholders.
I believe I'm held in a gentle repose stasis spell at the moment. Is where we're at.
Yeah, so you guys,
along with Immithra.
Yeah, you had defeated it, and then yes, I believe you have preserved Seharn, and you're now the Illithid handed you a bottle. I have that bottle is being held by Kurza at the moment, but I don't know who would have taken the bottle. I just put it there, because his character looked like he needed something in his hand. But
Take it.
if anyone else is holding the bottle,
I'll take that bottle, damn it.
then we'll start with Kurza kind of being the one that received it from Xanthune. Xanthune left, and you all were basically in this open chamber with the corpse of a beholder, the corpse of your companions, and a bottle in your hand. And that's where we'll pick up tonight's session 45, is with all of you in the chamber now, and supposedly having this wish to cast, although you haven't activated anything yet. You're, I think, openly debating the options that you have before you. This is a unique opportunity for the group to alter the course of their fate. I'll hand it over to you guys. Open it up just for general discussion. I'm not going to take any thing as a literal order or command for the wish at this point. It's all free to feel free to pose whatever ideas you have to one another. I just want to get a general sense of what the party leaning is. So take it away, guys.
Okay,
Just wish for a good stiff drink. Just blow it like that.
that's that. I think Griff had the best idea. Better than trying to raise everybody and do a bunch of other things. We all just go back to Procampur and his name, the Baden. Yeah, Baden. We just everybody and all the dead bodies, Immithra, Quig, and Seharn. All of us gets teleported to Procampur in the one temple that you mentioned, or that Molly mentioned.
Yeah.
And then we send Baden out to his city that he so desperately wants to see. So he gets teleported there, and everybody, all the rest of us, go over to Procampur to do what we need to do. And then we can decide whether or not who's getting raised and who's getting buried, and how do we free Immithra's soul from the Lich and all kinds of things. Or is it her body that's being attached by the Lich? So there are many more possibilities, and we probably have more resources readily available in Procampur too.
I forgot about that lich part, bro. That does change things a bit. She's
Yeah.
worse off than I am.
But we've got boat loads of cash that's hard to carry, especially through the Underdark here. So it's unless we leave all this crap behind, but why leave all the cash behind if we can just transport it, spend it to get everybody either buried?
Plus, we have a lot of information too, right? So we have
Yeah.
information on Myth-Nantar, the towers. We have the maps. You have a library in your belt.
Yep. And then
The
we have
crown.
we have the crown too, plus those of us that have the tattoos. We've just killed one of the watchers, signified by the talking hand in the tattoo. We have made yet another attack upon the makers of the tattoos. So
Sorry, I don't want to cut anybody off, but what I was wanting to do also is get Baden's input on things to watch out for or cautionary measures he might know about how a wish works, especially as it relates to this is just in a bottle. It's not a genie, or I don't know, maybe that is a genie. I don't know.
the level of magic is there if it's a wish, the
Yeah.
equivalent of a 9th level spell. And if we tried to do all the things to raise all these people,
No,
we'd probably be pressing the powers of the and get a lot of unintended consequences.
Yeah, a lot of opportunities there, but go ahead.
I think
a simple teleport might work.
So I would say I don't take the power of this magic lightly, and I realize this opportunity is enormous for everyone's future. Your friend's fate is important to you, and it is important to me as well, but leaving this place with no way to return is not a path that I would necessarily seek. I think you get the sense that he may not join you in Procampur if you left this place, because he's afraid it would be very difficult to get back here. And this
True.
still ultimately is where he wants to research and find his way to the Mithnantar ruins. So that's
Well,
just
that's why.
his feeling about it. But as far as the question about this magic, I think even he would not be fully versed in how it works, probably as curious as you are about what it even means that you're going to be able to have this ability. But yes, to definitely be careful with our words and our thoughts. So
Yeah. So the real question then, Baden, is if we teleport to Procampur, we could also teleport you to Mithnantar as part of that wish, if you want to do that. Because that can get you to where you want to go without having to traverse the Underdark to get there.
my reason for staying further to travel with you in the Underdark was with the promise that eventually we would all return. For I know not exactly what awaits me in Mithnantar, and hoped to have a party attend to it with me, but that is neither here nor there at this point. I would gladly take that route. If this is where we depart, then I'm fine with that, and I'm thankful for you remembering to give me this path.
Absolutely. Plus, you can copy all of the information that we might have collected in various books and other things that might help you in your further search.
Indeed.
And we may join you. You never know. But we have to, I think, deal with this. And we're traveling far too heavy with cash.
So again, I would ask the mages, how does teleport work, and would it be possible if we were to go use the wish spell to get back to the temple in Mithnantar? Would it be possible to leave something here that we could use as a way to teleport back to it?
Let me suggest, says Baden, a permanent portal.
Okay.
One that you could leave and come back through to give you at least the ability to return once, if not multiple times.
So you're saying wish for a permanent portal between here and the temple in Procampur?
It would seem if we are asking to be teleported, then a portal would be more useful.
Yeah.
Yes.
We could, in another level or two or thereabouts, acquire a teleport spell. And
Yeah, but
being familiar
if we
with
made
this
a portal,
area, we could just teleport back.
or we could make a portal like he's saying right now, wish for a portal. It'd go both
True.
ways.
Yeah. Your ability to teleport later will not likely bring all of your allies and friends with you, but until you reach even higher level. But
True. But that would leave the portal open to abuse by Underdark parties here and lead them straight to the temple.
Yeah, that might not be the ultimate idea.
there could be
Right.
a condition.
I was going to ask this.
That's an interesting idea, though.
Isn't Baden, is he the one that we saved that fell overboard on our first ship voyage? Remember? Yes, well, Seharn literally dived in and
Yeah.
Molly helped.
Yeah.
So I'm just wondering
Yes.
if he, maybe from his point of view, he's developed some sense of camaraderie or loyalty, maybe even owing us a little bit. Just saying that might be part of his
I think that,
viewpoint. I don't know.
yeah, no, I think that you guys played that pretty hard when you talked him off of Mithnantar when he was on Mithnantar's doorstep. And he was ready to go to Mithnantar, and he thought everybody was going with him, and then realized you weren't. And I think that's when you guys really pleaded with him to stay with the party, that you used that loyalty
Yeah.
card, I should say. And he agreed, or I agreed, that he would certainly have camaraderie with the party and loyalty to the party, and he did stay with the party for that time. But I think, again, what you're suggesting now is a permanent shift for a person who's been chasing this needle in a haystack his whole life, and he may potentially be suddenly taken away from the vicinity of it when he's so close. So that's just his perspective.
Don't we intend to go there?
That if we create the permanent portal,
Yeah.
we can probably create it outside the city of Procampur somewhere. And then it would leave Baden and ourselves a way to return once we're much better provisioned and whatnot.
Yeah.
So I think that's a good suggestion too, because I don't like the idea of trying to raise 3 people simultaneously. That just begs for
No.
chaos.
You're likely to
And
start the zombie apocalypse.
yeah,
Accident.
exactly. I agree. We
Mm.
don't need the zombie apocalypse, not at this time.
We'd all end up melded together as some sort of a flesh golem hideous thing.
Let's not give Jamie any ideas here.
One mongrel man just returns, like that's got like the arm of Seharn and the head of Immithra. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like it.
But we're 30 feet
I
tall and we weigh 20 tons.
How about Bart? What are your thoughts, Bart, on the current options?
Bart's just in a state of deep thought. I finally went through I was a bit late posting Jamie some thoughts that he might have about wishes, but he's consumed thinking about if he were given this bottle, he might try to gain some power to restore life himself.
Okay.
But outside of Bart's mind, I
Bart
think
Vader.
the portal sounds like a good idea, actually.
Oh.
Outwardly, he'd probably.
I want to see the sun again.
Maybe a portal that requires a password, because if you're creating a permanent portal, it's going to be there forever, and eventually somebody's going to stumble across it. You just don't want anybody using this.
On either side.
Yeah.
That's the
Well, and that's where we can use some of our. That's a future us problem, I think. But just thinking about that. Say we use some of our contacts, maybe Harper's or somebody like that, to watch over it or know about it, because they were one of the ones that were requesting information on underground lost cities and things like that. Now they have that information. We can show them in person, and it might be worth it for them to, because of this knowledge, help us with our problem, which is 3 dead people.
yeah.
Right. Yeah.
I just love that. 3 dead
I think the
people.
password should be Immithra Quig Seharn.
It doesn't necessarily even have to be a password. We could just say
Only us could.
those
That's
of
true.
us here now, the however many of us, including the 3 deceased, will be the only
think-
ones to be able to activate this portal.
Activate it. Okay. I was gonna
I was just
say,
gonna
if
say-
we say we're the only ones that can use it, let's say we're not able to raise Seharn, but unfortunately your alt can't follow us through the portal either.
That is one of the, if you get too restrictive, that would be
Gotta
one
be
of the
careful.
things. Yeah,
Yeah.
even if you were just bringing back hirelings, it would eliminate
Right.
them.
Yeah.
Baden might be more subtle about it. Like he would be equally concerned about it being misused, but he may suggest that evil may not pass through it as a suggestion.
Oh, okay, that's a
Maybe
good
it's
one.
more of an alignment filter. And yeah, it could get misused, but
Good idea.
at least it would maybe prevent evil from passing. Maybe there's a better condition, but that's just what he would be thinking.
Yeah, because we got to worry about stuff coming from this side to the other side too.
Oh yeah.
It's a good idea.
And I like the idea of the no evil shall pass, so to speak. That's a good addition. But I do like the ability only for us here to be able to activate the portal. Any one of us could do it, but hey, if it's a total party kill, who cares?
Exactly.
Oh, TPK, we all have to start over again.
Oh.
Yeah, no big deal.
Yeah,
Staying,
I think we got to be careful playing with the language, so try to make it as simple as possible. Again, Griff doesn't know. I've never used a wish before or really heard of how these things work, so I'm relying on magic users who are
Yeah.
familiar with this type of magic
Yeah, I
to
think
guide us through this.
that's Baden can give you the idea about the portal, and the filter of what to use on the portal is really like where he can speak knowledgeably as far as the limitations of the wish and the wording of the wish. He's not yet had that experience either. So those will be something that you'll all find out when you open the bottle, ultimately. But it sounds like the party's in a general agreement. Are there any other thoughts or
Yeah.
concerns about this before you proceed with opening the bottle? Any other factors to consider about where you're ending up, or where this portal is going to be, both sides, anything else like that before we...
So my question again to Baden and Kurza would be, okay, now we're talking about a portal, and my original suggestion was get us back to Procampur. It sounds like the way that you guys would suggest to do that would be that some kind of magical portal. How does it work where we anchor it? Do we have to know of a place and think of it? Do we
Yes, it would have to
name
be,
something? How does that work?
it has to be in our memory. It must be
Yeah.
in the memory of the asker. That is
Yeah,
where they will
so
take us.
And I would suggest some kind of, so like you said, some kind of cave or hidden place outside of town, or even in town.
I don't want it to
Basement.
be just outside the Procamper's walls. Number one,
Yeah.
because it's poof, we suddenly appear coming through a portal. That's going to cause some suspicion, and people we don't want to notice that we're back, noticing we're back. I was
Like
thinking
time bandits, where they all come tumbling out of a
Right.
back into following the trail up north of Procamper.
is there a hidden, unoccupied cave somewhere?
I know of plenty of places in the woods east
Yeah.
of
Well, where
Procampur, but you guys would probably know better.
Jamie, where I'm having trouble thinking of whether where we spotted a place that we could put this on the southern side of the mountains and still be far enough from Procamper's
How about
doors that we won't be seen
I'll put up the map here and you guys can
appearing.
Yeah, I was gonna say
take a
I'm trying to
peek.
pull the map.
So we are currently in the middle of the Sea of Fallen Stars. Here's Procamper here. And you had taken this roadway that you can see the green path that you all took from Dragon Falls to Procamper. So there'd certainly be places along that path that where you had camped or even stopped along the way that would be in Kurza's memory, if that's
Yeah.
a location you're thinking of. Yeah, I think in maybe even as you're discussing that further, Baden is sitting there thinking that's probably a really good idea, is to have a secluded place where you can access this, but secluded but secure kind of thing. But it's really your memory. It would really boil down to Kurza's memory of, you know, what it is that he is imagining in that area as being the anchor point for the other end of the portal.
I'm thinking probably somewhere in this little spit of woods. If we had stopped in there or somewhere near there, being an elf, it's probably more familiar to me. Easier to differentiate that spot from other spots in the
Like a
woods.
shelter place, like where you guys camped or something on the way there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, someplace
Like
where
after
we
you
had
killed the
stopped.
gnoll.
Yeah, I want to say it would have been likely right here. Yeah, this small patch of forest on the other side of the Earthfast Mountains where you had last camped. So
That's where I'm thinking we want to go to.
So it's like maybe half a day's ride from Procamper or whatever. It's something like that, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
Or
But
if you're dragging bodies.
you also don't have horses, so it would be more like a full day's travel. But yeah,
That's fine.
that's an option. When we look at, I can also bring up real quickly as well, since this is now on your minds, I could show you the map again of Procamper. this was the district map where you could see the harbor. You guys remember being in the harbor and meeting Furbus, who was someone who was your contact in the harbor. He was he was like someone that was safe for you and had a spot, I think, in the harbor as well that might come to mind as an outside option. Otherwise, inside of the city walls, you all stayed in the adventurers district. You had slept in a inn, or in an inn in the adventurers district, so you would be very familiar with that spot as well as the temple, where ultimately I think you guys were trying to get to here is back to the temple district. So those are just like other possible places you could anchor this thing if you're.
I don't want to anchor it within the city because that represents a security risk to the city.
True. Very true. Okay.
Yeah, and it would cause us. It would cause a great stir if we just showed up in the temple, and there we are. Hi.
Eventually, we'd have to explain it, and I think Procampur was pretty
Right,
strict when it came to
True.
laws and how you move between districts.
Yeah, we may raise everybody and find ourselves in a jail cell somewhere.
Yeah, I may only mention it because you remember to Adam's point, they were a little bit strict, right? They went through your stuff when you entered the city and stuff, which is another thing to think about, right? They're gonna be in your business. They're gonna be checking your things and all of that on your way in and out. But yeah, I'm hearing you. I just wanted to double check and make sure what you were thinking. Okay.
Yeah, I'm thinking the spot we camped in the woods outside of Procampur half a day away is probably the better choice from my perspective. And anybody else disagree, agree?
No, I agree. And the only thing I would be able to offer is I grew up in the woods farther to the east, couple like I don't know, 3 or 4 days from Procampur. So I know of lots of places out there, but it's maybe a little too far and more in the wilderness. But
We're
it would
going to have
probably be better to be closer to a road with the condition we're in and the stuff we have and everything. We don't want to be dragging a bunch of boxes of gold and 3 dead bodies for days, several days.
Yeah. That's what my thought was too. But there's probably no good place to show up closer to the city.
No, and we could even maybe a couple of us could go into town and get a wagon and come back and pull everybody back and make arrangements that way. Can try to see if I have any Harper contacts or anything to help us get bodies in through the walls and stuff. And Grief and Palms.
So does everybody be comfortable with Kurza?
Yeah, I'm mostly listening because I'm deceased, but
no, that's fine.
I agree with his plan.
Okay. All right. Are you ready to proceed?
I was going to post up
That's a good idea. The wording?
Yeah, a wording and pass it around for everybody else to change up and whatnot like that. So Baden can get suggestions and everything else. So that's what I have so far.
Okay.
I mean, a permanent portal. Do we want it invisible? Things like that.
I'll let you guys work on that a little bit with the chat. You can type any changes you want to make.
One other consideration maybe is where in the current location here do we tie this? Do we head back towards
the mushroom fields or something?
Something that was fairly safe. If there's a place. If there is such a place, yeah.
How far away is the mushroom fields where we originally crossed in?
That's probably half a day's travel. A couple hours of travel back through the caves that you came through. Yeah, you got to remember that you all descended further. You followed the Mind Flayer deeper into the Underdark, into a series of tunnels that actually is beneath the Underdark, and so your current depth is much lower than where you were when you were back in the mushroom fields. So you would have to ascend back out of this depth and into that area to anchor yourself. Or not necessarily. You can ask for the wish here and have the portals be where you want, and then you got to find your way to them. But that's just something for you to think about. So
I would rather create the portal
yeah.
and directly in front of us, wherever the hell we happen to be, and then that way we can see its effectiveness right there when we activate it,
Okay.
as opposed to having to find it to activate it.
Yeah, I think the risk there just becomes that you've lost your Underdark guide, and then you followed the Illithid into a particularly dangerous place, and you're now really completely on your own. Like getting back and navigating that will be on you guys to do, to retrack and everything. So that's the other factor here is like, regardless of what happens with the bottle, you're stranded in a way. You're gonna have to find a way to survive from this point in the Underdark with who you have. Okay.
All right.
I'm ready if you're ready. I don't mean to pressure you, but it's up to you. If you feel comfortable with proceeding, then you let me know. But otherwise, if you have more to consider, guys, I don't want to force you to open it if you're not.
Do we want to backtrack, guys, up to the upstairs?
The only thing that I guess I would be concerned with if we do it from here is what lives here. And there used to be a beholder, but I don't know.
The
There's like
beholder was
shelters.
the beholder was just the guard too, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was just the guard for the main bad guy.
Was it?
Yeah. He was the watcher for the main. I got.
I thought he
the
was just a
notes.
watcher for the tattoo makers had. I'm not certain
There,
that he was
there.
guarding someone else.
Yeah, he's basically on this level of the Underdark. Everyone is operating as an agent for this god of decay, and of which he is aligned to. That's what Xanthune was getting on about and using as a means to get you all interested in pursuing it. But really, I think what you've probably figured out is that this is like an ecosystem down here, and this watcher served some type of purpose, and that purpose is no more. And so what the result of that, of him no longer being here, is, I don't think is fully clear to you all, because none of you are really knowledgeable of the Underdark and the cultures and forces that are here. But definitely it would, I think for like a ranger, for Griff, you would realize that this is like a top predator that's just been eliminated and is going, chances are it's going to open up a lot of other things that are going to happen with it being out of the way. So definitely,
Yeah, we don't want
yeah.
to be here.
There's definitely an imbalance that got created by killing it.
That's where I was going. We just killed the Terminix of this cave, so what kind of critters are gonna start filtering in here?
Or will someone
and I think
send
I would
someone to replace him?
might be able to understand that just from my underground survival.
Absolutely.
And stuff. Yeah, it was. He said that the hand in the mouth represents Moander, powerful being that represents corruption, rot, and decay.
Okay,
Yeah.
let's head back to the direction of the
mushrooms.
Yeah. Or backtrack to a point that's safer than this one, however many levels up that was.
All right, who will carry Seharn's body?
I can carry him.
Okay. All right.
It's like carrying a little baby.
Yes, not a very heavy, not a very heavy
The
pack.
size of a 3-year-old.
Not even. I'm like 4'7", like 4.5 foot.
Yeah.
But like, I don't even weigh 100 pounds.
All right, so you all had. Let's see. I'll switch this back over to this other. This is the battle map where the beholder went down, so you guys can see your handiwork here, and this is essentially where you're standing now. So if you're gonna head back towards any general direction, who will be your lead on that? And
Can I track my way back?
yeah, you can definitely try to track your way back. So
Okay.
If Griff's taking the lead on that, go ahead, Griff, and give us I think you've got underground survival. You can do a roll on that to get your general direction going.
All right, hang on. Halfway through typing something.
You had your wish all mastered out.
It's about no, it's frozen.
Just the wrong place.
Yep, in the end, all we wished for was an ever full mug of ale.
Okay, what am I doing?
I think you've got to do a underground survival roll.
Okay. Any modifiers?
In this case, you're good. You had to beat it by 5, and you beat it by 10. So you're able to, Griff, pretty easily get yourself oriented back in the direction where you're heading up through some of these dark, wet caves, and you leave behind you the scene of the beholder, and you start to ascend back towards the cave system that you originally came from. Let's see, what is your general marching order? I'm gonna say I'll line everyone up on the left behind Griff. So I got Griff over here. What's our marching order after Griff with this group? I'll put the NPC at the back there, but
We have Gregor, yeah. Yeah, there's not really many of us, are there?
no, and it looks like
a much smaller. I guess I'll move on up there.
okay. Yeah, it is a smaller group, and you're carrying 2 bodies now as you make your way up. And keep in mind, Griff, if you're carrying Seharn's body and you're navigating, it's probably not the best situation for you.
I may be able to carry his body, but I'll be encumbered
Okay.
slightly.
Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say Bart has a
Yep.
13 strength. I don't know, and
How about Bart then? I'll put Seharn with you, and that way Griff can be free to track and navigate.
yeah.
I was gonna say because tracking's, I can't pull anything up all of a sudden, but it works differently. It's just basically if I've seen it and I know that it's there, I can follow it.
Yeah.
But,
I just mean
it's
more
fine.
just narratively speaking, being the one walking in front of the group and leading the group forward with the body on your shoulder might be cumbersome and difficult. So
Okay.
someone else might want to help with that. So it sounds like Bart's going to carry Saharn's body so that Griff can move freely and alert you guys. Be ahead a little bit as well. I'm sure you're ahead a little bit. Okay.
As long as we move slow, if he gets too heavy, I'll trade with Kurza for
Yeah, your strength is
small
2.
stretch here and there.
You've got a 13, I've got an 11, but
Oh, okay,
it'll work for a while.
So
Let's tie a rope around my neck and drag. It'll be fine.
basically, the area that you are led to is it leads back to a pretty narrow tunnel that extends, and it's like a slog going uphill underground, basically, right now as you're climbing up out of this depth and back towards where you remembered being before. Along the way, gonna have everybody do a wisdom check, please. Our conscious souls, I should say. That's for
I have
Wayne.
no wisdom,
That's for
right? I have no wisdom, no intel, no heat
It's
to my.
just it's potential wisdom. It's there. It's just okay. All
Just
right.
rub me for luck and you'll get a +1 bonus.
So Bart, yeah, just Bart, you're the first to notice this. You hear a sound that, as you're moving through the caves, it's pretty quiet for the most part. Every once in a while, you'll hear drips of water and things like that, small movements. But at this point, you hear what sounds like tapping footsteps, like multiple times. You're moving with the party and you're walking, and you suddenly are hearing this tapping kind of footstep sound as if it's lurking around in the caves behind you. And you go to take a look, and you're pretty sure that you heard something. And when you take a closer look, Bart, you see this like small dark object, like this small ball, um, in the cave behind you, lurking, and almost looks like it's following you. And seemingly, like when you stop and you guys get quiet, it scatters off whatever it is. It seems somewhat small. It's not even medium. It's small, whatever it is, but it's something that's skittering around and following behind you at a distance, not yet getting close enough to really reveal itself. And Bart would be the first one to notice this, really.
I think Bart would
Mm.
maybe sit Seharn down for a brief moment and obviously look back and try and get a better view of it and ask Kurz and whoever else is near if they've seen anything in the shadows.
And the other
Can we
guys,
back and see everybody stopping.
I think for those of you who succeeded your checks here after being told by Bart of the sound, you would then be able to stop and listen, and maybe like you hear a little bit of it, like you just hear a little short bit of it, right? Just enough that like you think Bart's onto something. So it's just something, again, like you feel is like lurking, following you guys at a distance, not yet engaging or anything like that, but definitely crawling around and keeping tabs on you is the general feeling. With that, you can continue to press on or try to investigate that further.
Is it
Web
Gollum?
spell. How big's the tunnel?
It is a pretty narrow tunnel at this point. It's about 8 feet wide.
So-
So it's pretty narrow for this whole group to be passing.
Do we want to? Okay, I guess I'll move back to where
I have a
everybody is.
suggestion. I can put a web spell behind us. It'll cover 8,000 cubic feet of this tunnel. So I can just zoom
Mm.
Well, but
however many square
what if
feet it
it's
is.
I was
or Renwick or something like that?
I was thinking of setting maybe a glyph down and specifying that only good could pass through it, perhaps.
Nod.
Hello, friends. I apologize.
Oh, there you go. Hey,
We
Nod.
love it.
Welcome.
Glad
Glad to
you're
see
here,
you.
man.
No, good timing.
Just in time.
Good timing,
Yes.
actually.
Yeah. Hey, we need you to carry Seharn.
Yes. You're just in time for the barbecue. They decided to eat me.
I'll get your token back out on the screen here so you can see what's going
Oh,
on.
come on now. We only eat fresh fish.
But I'd say that as you're like contemplating this thing being behind you, that up ahead of you as well, Griff, in going forward and heading back up towards the next level, you do think that you're finding your way correctly. Like you do feel like you're backtracking your steps correctly. You don't think you're that terribly far from the tunnel system that leads to the mushrooms, but you know that you still got a little ways to go. But welcome in, Brandon, and I'll catch you up real quick. The group has decided to take the bottle and ascend back up into the upper caves before opening it and eventually making their wish. So welcome, and we'll plug you in. Basically, they're following Griff, and he's leading them upward towards that cave system when you heard some skittering and moving about in the caves behind you as if something was following you. And I think, Kurza, you're contemplating a web. Any other thoughts?
Yeah, I got 8 10 by 10 foot cubes, so that'd be
Yeah.
80 feet of tunnel.
So Bart was thinking about dropping down a glyph of warning behind us. If we're in a fairly small tunnel, he could just specify that only good could pass through it.
I like
That
that.
might potentially
Yeah,
lead us into something. But
that would address Tim's concern about if it were a Myconid, Renwick, or something like that. That way, it wouldn't eliminate that from happening. If you went,
I like the idea.
yeah.
or
Yeah.
evil can't pass if it's neutral, or maybe we're open to.
Seems to be a lot of that.
Yeah, I'll
Yeah.
just.
Yeah, evil can't pass.
All right. So, Bart, you're gonna cast this ward.
Yeah, glyph of
Glyph of warning.
warning.
And if it does go off, then I'll cast the web. We can keep on moving.
Oh, I
Uh-oh.
pushed the wrong button. Sorry.
That's all right. It looked like
Just
a lot of
one
fun
time.
throwing all those dice. Let's see 'em.
I don't even know what that means. I was trying to get initiative next to it to throw the spell up in the.
It threw 6
But
die
that's
4
not
or
working.
something. That was cool.
Oh yeah, I did throw up there actually. As long as it's not a huge space, it looks like. Otherwise, I need a bunch of gold
No, it's not. It's a pretty tight area here.
So I can really just do it with my incense and
Nice.
kind of.
Priest, plenty growing lines around the warding sigil for every 5 square feet is protected. Okay.
Yeah, it's only 8 foot wide, so that's pretty good too.
So tell us, what does the
Yeah.
glyph, what's the shape of the glyph that Bart draws here?
Oh, let's see. It is the symbol of Lyra. It's like an upside down triangle with wisps of mist drawn through the inside of it.
Very cool. Okay. Yeah, so Bart's able to draw this glyph on the wall, the symbol of Lyra, and you would all see this sort of protection now on the wall so that if something evil approaches or tries to pass, it would be harmed. Really nice. Moving on, continuing to move forward, I assume you'll keep an eye on you even though you've got this glyph behind you. So you all
Oh,
can
especially.
yeah, you can continue to ascend again where you come up into a I don't know why my headset is beeping. Let me double check this. Sorry. I don't want it to die on me. Oh, okay. It did get unplugged. It's always good to know. Better now than later.
Whatever we want.
Just when I go to grant the wish, it'll just die and just Okay. All right. I'm powered up now. Okay. So you guys continue further. The glyph has been set so far. I think you would, as you're paying attention heading forward, you don't notice the flittering footsteps behind you any longer. So you do feel like your glyph at least has caused a little bit more caution from your followers. You guys make your way up again. It's really just tough sledding, slippery rock floor heading upward. It was a lot easier going downward earlier when you were following the mind flare, but now it's a lot different climbing up, and you're stopping to catch your breath at times, and eventually after a couple of hours of climbing up, you do make your way back into the main tunnel where you were connected from the prior level. Let me find the map. Got you guys. I gotta make sure I got you guys all in the right spot.
See, I think Nod actually had a map to Renwick. Thinking about it. But it sounds like we're backtracking. Not trying to throw us off course.
Yeah, we're going back.
Yeah, so you guys
Rather
have made your way up to this level now and into the winding tunnels that ascend up into that level. This was right where you had joined forces with the Illithid, so he led the way through most of this, and Griff has successfully navigated you all back essentially to that spot. And as you reach this spot, I'm going to have everybody roll a wisdom check again, please.
Oh no.
Bart's thinking about what he would do if he had full control of the wish of the.
Yeah, his
He's no longer paying
daydreaming.
attention to anything else.
He's just daydreaming of the things I could do. Yeah.
Is
Uh,
this the tunnel we came out of?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Right over here. Griff
Okay.
and
I'm working on it.
who else am I missing? Nod. You guys can roll wisdom as well.
What's this weird looking thing in the center here?
I think that's Immithra's body.
Oh, okay.
Where is it? What weird thing?
This token.
That's oh
That's our Illithid friend.
oh that
Yeah,
was
okay.
that was the Illithid I
Oh,
deleted.
that's the Illithid. Yeah, it was stacked on top of Bart.
No wonder he's distracted.
I know, right? He's getting
That could
followed
explain
by.
where all the tapping has come from.
So we got 2 fails, 1 success on the nose, and another one by 3. Okay.
Ooh, Bart.
As
You
you
got 5. That's all right.
It's all right. Yeah, in this case, you all basically get back up here, and you're taking a moment of pause after doing so much climbing when you hear a sound come from across the cave, and you are all surprised by the sudden appearance of this. Where is he? That you may have seen before. Let's see. Does this thing have?
Is our Myconid friend?
Yes.
Maybe? Yes.
Hey, our buddy.
Hey, I like this guy.
So this is, you'll remember that Caprin was his name.
Right.
And those of you who succeeded your wisdom check would notice that
Oh.
Caprin has changed color. He previously was a lot brighter, and now he looks a darker, a little bit more just decaying looking from what you
Jeez.
remembered seeing him before. And he steps out as you're approaching, and he says, "It has begun. The slaughter has begun."
Did we not kill the main bad guy in the maze? I missed that session.
The main bad
No,
guy.
we did not.
No, we
We
never to the
bypassed.
center.
Oh,
Yeah.
Fortwin. Yeah, Fortwin, the head Minotaur is still living. Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
We never went to the center of the maze. We left.
But what Caprin is alluding to is he says that the Watcher's eyes are dead, and now the darkness passes. The drow have begun their slaughter. They move quickly. They will invade, and they will eliminate everyone. Now that they are unopposed, be wary, they will hunt you.
What? You mean killing that thing? We just upset the balance of power here, and now our friends are in trouble.
Oops.
Things
You
move
know,
fast here, man.
you're
Got to
not
keep
making
up.
this campaign easy here, Jamie. Poor Myconids.
So the Myconid is, he looks like he's a little bit like he was in the depths. He had gone following you guys for a while, and as he ascended back up, he's more decayed now, and it's just something that you notice when you ascend as well. That's the way things start to appear when you get to a certain depth. And so you get the sense that he was desperately looking for you guys and following you, and then eventually found you here. And Caprin sees that you're now carrying the body of one of your friends, and he turns his head a little bit confused by what happened or what's happening as he sees Seharn is now deceased as well. And he says, "You're in a lot of trouble. I would be very careful. I cannot help you, I think. I have no way
Well,
out of this."
we're planning to leave, but we're going to the surface.
The surface.
I'm gonna run away for a minute. I'll be back.
The surface.
Sunlight.
That sounds like a safer place for you. I would go
Indeed.
there. I would make your way back cautiously. If you proceed further, you risk being seen by their scouts. They have already passed these tunnels earlier. And
All right. Do we want to take the Caprin with us?
I don't know if he likes the sun or
I don't know.
he's not. He's probably not familiar with it, to be honest with you.
not. Try describing the sun.
How adventurous is he?
Never seen it, yeah. Or the sky, for that matter.
Big burning sky.
He would be, I think, like, the sense with him is that he's such a neutral party down here that he's probably safe and able to find his own way of survival, but that eventually his allies will become limited and it would become harder over time for him to survive. But for now, I think you get the sense that he's probably capable of dealing with this for now, but he's concerned obviously because he's seeing drow scouts begin to come through.
I would ask, we are looking for a safe place from which to create a path back to our land and where we come from. Is there a place near here where there would be less traffic, sheltered, and away from most eyes, where we may come and go? We may be back.
Oh. How about a charisma check?
It's my worst stat. Can't use intelligent creature.
Okay.
Oh,
Hey, you made it.
Very nice. Yes, there is. There is a place. Caprin take you. Come, friends. I will help you.
Well, let's
And
awesome.
follow the man, huh?
he will come back here. And I'm going to move you guys down. He basically, let me double check and make sure the lighting. Yeah, okay. I've got it. So He leads you over to this corner of the cave, and he leans in, and you could see a shifting rock that he's able to squeeze through. It's not that tight. You can definitely squeeze through it, but it's kind of hidden the way that it's jagged in this area. So you've got to take your time as you step through, but he leads you into this little pathway, and it comes through and it opens up into this little chamber.
Itty bitty room.
And it's a little hidden chamber. As he takes you in, I'm dropping you guys into it on the map. It looks like this room was carved out. It is like a 10 by or a 20 by 20 space, and there is a large wooden table in the middle of this area, and it looks like this was probably used by, at some point, guards or watchers, but it doesn't look as if it's been used in some time. It seems like it's just like a dusty old room at this point. And so he shows you into this space, and I think it's like all of you would be like surprised that you walked past this before, but it's definitely pretty well hidden as far as what you were asking. It's fairly
Awesome.
secluded.
So, asking the rest of the party, where's the rest of our stuff? You guys said you had to leave some of it behind. In the session I missed.
I think it was just up and over, and because we were standing right next to it, so we could
Yeah,
have brought that with us
it
in.
it was over here where Quig was killed.
I got a black screen.
Let's see.
We were standing like 20, 30 feet away from it, so it was to the right of us.
Oh, you weren't able to even get over there. So it was down there, Griff. That's where it was before. But I assume for now you'll have to figure out what you're going to do beyond this, but you're in the chamber for now. So I'll let you pick it up from there. What would you like to do?
Grab our stuff and let's go.
Assuming this is where we'll set up the portal, do we want to address that?
So I reworded a little bit, so I don't know if you guys want to scroll back up or I can retype it.
Yeah, throw it back down again. We'll get our other stuff from pick up, what is it, Quig's body, and actually we put him elsewhere, didn't we? But we'll pick up our goodies.
No,
and
he was on the way back. We would have gone right past him because he was like right by the mushrooms.
No, he's further back as well. He's back. He's buried. You guys buried him up here. That's where.
There's a copy paste.
Yeah. Quig's up here. Your chest, I believe, is down here where you abandoned it. So it's not far from you, but you have not passed them yet. You still need to go back through to find those things. But
it might be if we do have to run away from a drow army, it might be good to have a portal we can jump.
Okay. How far away is it time-wise? 5 minutes to get it? Less than that?
everything was, if you were just walking without any caution, it might take you like 10 minutes to reach it. If you're walking with any level of caution, it'll take a little longer, but it's just a matter of what the group's priorities are.
And we got to carry it all back.
Yeah. What did we leave there?
You will probably trip over random hammers, some pythons. There's some long swords there. There are some armors there. There is a handful of iron bars and.
Okay. We've got all the
might be a
cash
couple
and
of silver
whatnot with
bars
us.
There is one chest that we left further north of the mushrooms that was like near the dirt, near the sand. That's where we first started getting affected by the mind flare. Through the mud.
Yeah, let's just go then. We'll just go with what we got because I don't want to be here anymore. Yeah.
Okay.
If you can describe it to Caprin, I guess we could see if he might be able to lead maybe me and Unod back and pick up. I don't know how much stuff we left behind.
It would be more reasonable if we left stuff here and then we went to go pick up whatever.
Didn't we carry it down to the beginning of this whole labyrinth section?
It wouldn't be far from where we are. It's
No.
truthfully not far from where we are, where we left all the stuff. We'll just take
Yeah, everything's
time of going there and then.
yeah, it's just a
Yeah.
matter of like where you're investing your time at this point. It's not to say you can't get these things, but you're definitely like finally in a safe place. You're being warned that you're being hunted. You're detecting things following you. So it's just a matter of if that is the risk that you're ready to take. I'm good with you guys heading out there to do that. I just want to make sure that you're thinking of it that way.
I'm good to go with what we have right now. I think the information that we have, the crown, some of the other stuff that we have to trade, I don't know how many boxes of treasure we still have, would be enough for us to bargain with to get maybe someone to help raise our people. Those are
Yeah.
my thoughts. And guys got to keep in mind, Griff into material stuff anyway. So I don't really care about the treasure.
So that's another good point. If you
It's
really,
to me. So
yeah,
I'm not gonna carry a bunch of gold around. I'm not gonna. It's what I can wear, what I can wield, and what will help my friends and my party. So I think my mind, we have that on us right now.
I'm okay
right.
with that.
As long as we have
Anybody else?
we
Just
think to
gandering it.
facilitate a raising. Yeah.
What do you think? I know you're concerned with a lot of the material and things like that.
I'm less worried about the material. Nod has plenty of shiny trinkets and things that he can play with, that he's less worried about the material. I guess he would be more concerned about quest than anything. I mean, don't get me wrong, he is greedy enough, he would definitely try to go back and vouch for getting that treasure, but he's less worried about all the materials and everything, and more about Quag.
Okay. Yeah, and I don't know how far he is either.
But if we can just make a portal and we're 20 minutes away,
I'll say it.
it's hard to justify making the risk.
I'll say this, and I know that I won't have you do much of a wisdom check on this, but I'll say this. Quig's body was not preserved, and
Right.
you all buried him
Yep.
in a accelerated decay place. Just something
Leave 'em
to
there.
think about there. Definitely didn't
I guess
really go out of your
that's
way
a good
to
point.
preserve him.
That's a good point. So I guess I would look to Bart and then Griff, knowing his knowledge of nature and how it works. What would we think the state of his body would be? It's been almost a day. Probably not good. Plus, he got his intellect sucked out by an illithid.
Yeah, and I think on top of that, you would start to get the sense too that there are things that are hunting and finding decaying, rotten things. You're pretty certain you'd find something feeding on him, if not just him in an accelerated state of decay.
Arms and legs.
But let me move you guys into the room. I think I've got everybody in here. Let me know if you cannot see for any reason, but this is our hidden room, we'll call it, where you guys have posted up for the time being, and think you're gonna contemplate your next move. I need to grab something real fast.
Just a quick question.
Go ahead, Brandon. Go ahead.
It looked like I leveled up. Did I level up from last
Oh,
session?
yeah, you did. I skipped over mentioning that to you when you got here. You did. You leveled up. You went to 6th level thief. You can roll your hit die. There you go. And any other things that you want to update, feel free to start filling out. And if there's any questions you have about leveling up, let me know. But yeah, welcome to 6th level. And I'll be right back, guys. I just grab something real fast.
The highest level amongst us.
Oh, well, could just take our break now.
We just go.
I say we just go.
It's reasonable to leave the other chests there, yeah. The Nod is carrying, I don't know, 15,000 gold, 10,000 gold.
Yeah.
It's reasonable to leave the other 5,000.
It's reasonable that 5,000 won't be there when you come back, but that's okay too.
Yeah, the drow may already have found
it's already
that.
there.
That's true. The drow may already have found it. I would say
So
if you have any idea of thought of keeping it, I would go get it now, or it's probably going to be lost. I'm guessing, but we don't care, right?
yeah, I think we should just. We've got all the stuff that's important to us.
Yeah.
including the 2 dead bodies. So, any opposed?
All
I
right.
have no say. I'm just going to lie here, gentle repose.
He's letting the fates decide. Any questions, or everybody ready to take a next step? What are you thinking?
Let's make a portal, boys.
All right, sorry guys.
All right, so it sounds like everyone's ready to proceed with at least uncapping the bottle. Is that
Anybody opposed to just making the portal now and off we go?
I am not opposed. I reposted the wording that I had. It's pretty much the same. So just take a look and see if it makes more sense or less sense, whatever.
Okay. Adam? Yay, nay?
Just realized I was muted. Sorry. Yeah. Bart's ready for a portal. He'd love to see the sun again too.
Okay.
Hmm.
Off we go then.
Gonna uncork this thing?
Yes.
Okay, let's see. I think okay. Yeah, so you pull the cap out of this glass bottle, Kurza, and as you're doing it, you feel a gust of air blowing out of the top of the bottle once you free the cap. And in the air in front of you, it starts to swirl, and you see this form kind of taking shape in the middle of the room, floating in the mist there. A large 7 to 8 foot tall looking creature with these flowing kind of robes and cloth hanging on him, and a really distant stare, like a really stoic distant stare on his face. And it's swirling at first, but then it takes more of a form and appears there. Let me know, can you guys see that on the screen? Are you able to see that in
Yes.
the
Yeah.
Okay, all right. I just want to make sure that it's showing through on the layers, the map layers. But let's see, ultimately
It's a little hard to see, but
I think it's as intended, obscured by this cloud.
yeah.
2 heads in there.
Yes.
There's
One
no
of them's
evil.
Gregory.
And it looks around and it gazes upon the room again in this sort of trance-like pose. And suddenly you hear this voice emanate from it, and it says, "Ah, freedom at last. I am Nimbarus, Prince of the Winds, Lord of the Eastern Zephyrs. Long have I wandered the boundless skies of my plane, until I was deceived and bound into this wretched vessel by the treacherous hand of Zalthun." He looks around at you to see if there's any reaction to the name that he mentions, and he says, "For centuries, I have
We
languished
look
within this
blankly at him.
prison. My essence has been
Oh, my.
shackled, and myself has been reduced to a mere trinket. But now, mortals, you have done me a great service. You have released me, and for that
Oh.
I am somewhat indebted. But be careful, friends, for words do matter, as I found out myself, and they were used against me to put me into this vessel. I should very much like to help you, but the world can be a harsh place. Let me say, I know that you have whispered in the ether, and you seek to restore those that you've lost to the clutches of death. Immithra, Seharn, Quig, your fallen comrades. You would have them returned, if you could. If you could keep the lich from being bound to their soul. But there are many things within my power. I can grant life, health. I could sever dark ties. But you must understand, I am not without my own needs. And though I am free from this bottle, my bond to the mortal plane remains. Zalthun has left me cursed, tethered to this realm, unable to return to the skies of my home. If you would break me from this artifact by destroying it, I may be able to ensure that more good comes to you. But again, friends, I am indebted to you already, for you have finally let me see this plane again, and I will grant you a wish.
Very well. If we do this wish, or when we do this wish, because you could join us in returning to the surface of this planet and see the open sky once again.
This is the mortal plane. This is not my
Yes,
home.
but it's a step better than being stuck under the earth for one of your air elementalness. You'd at least have some open air to travel and search by. It may be a small improvement, but
This vessel that traps me can only be broken within this dark place. I have no business on the surface of the mortal plane.
okay. Then I guess we'll destroy it as soon as we'll place the wish.
Nim would
and
be
we'll destroy it.
indebted to you further if you should follow through with such a thing. However, it is not a condition of your wish. I cannot do that to you, for you have already done me this favor. But seeing Xanthune destroyed and my entrapment also removed would certainly bring Nim joy. Regardless, what is it you seek, friend? What is it that I can give you?
I look around to the rest of the party, and are we still good? Any dissent amongst them?
Yes.
All right. I'll do the wish as that Griff has or Tim just posted, and I will specify our party members by name for those who can see and operate the portal, in addition to what he's got written there. But otherwise, I will say the wish.
Then Nim will look at you and say, "Speak it into existence, friend."
Create a permanent portal between here, this Caprin's cave, and Cruz's Cove, and I'll bring that to mind. That the portal can only be seen and activated by our party members, and I name off all of the ones that are here and aren't here. I'll include, of course, too. And the portal will also not allow evil to pass.
Very well. And with that, he closes his eyes, Kurza, and I think you feel this magical vortex opening as he starts to kind of swirl wind around, and you do see that this portal in the room opens up, and at first it's transparent, but as you get closer to it, it starts to swirl and make itself apparent to you as you specified, and it appears to be a magical portal. The Djinni Nim he says, "You make this too easy for me. This portal will take you to your safe cove, and it will bring you back. It will not allow evil to pass, and it will present itself to your party. I hope that this wish meets your desires." And Nim again thanks you for saving me temporarily from this prison. And if you should,
I'll thank him too.
If you should see to it to permanently remove my shackles, perhaps there's more in store for us. But until then, friend, I will be in my vessel. And he dissipates into the air, and now you guys are left standing in the room with what appears to be a live portal.
Okay. Any problems if I go ahead and destroy said vial to free the djinn?
We don't know what it takes to do that.
He said it'd crush it, but I can only
Okay,
try.
let's do that.
Go for it.
I wouldn't. I thought he said it had something to do with Zalthun. And
Yeah, he made a statement that it could only be destroyed by something that
Here.
Zalthun possesses. I should have been clearer. That
Oh, he
Zalthun.
just said it had to be
Yeah,
done in
he was
Underdark.
alluding to
Yeah.
the fact that it's something that Zalthun has that can destroy this. He wasn't being specific enough, but that's what his implication is that Zalthun possesses something that would destroy or disable this and free him ultimately. That's really just another thread, if you will, on
Yeah.
pursuing the illithid, if that's something you all do in the future or not. But as far as that's concerned, that's what he was getting at.
Why keep a good djinn trapped? So I'll hold on to the bottle
Okay.
and see what we can find out about this creature and where we might use something of his to destroy it.
All right.
so
You
many
never know what we're
potential
going.
sites.
Yeah, we'll probably have to research who the hell who was and that sort of thing. And
Yeah,
All
no
right,
doubt.
so we got a glowing portal here.
let's get
Yes.
the GTF OOD.
Who's going first?
Get the F out of Dodge. I'll go first.
All right.
And anybody else who wants to see daylight.
Let me get us moved over. We'll take our mid-session break here because I think we're a little bit past time for that, and we'll pick up here with you guys basically stepping through the portal, and we'll see what that looks like here on the other side in just a couple minutes.
All right. See you in a few, gents.
All right.
Okay.
That's good.
Both of them, yeah, right.
Yeah, all of them. Sorry. Sorry to interrupt, Jimmy. Yeah, but
Oh, you're fine. You're fine. I'm just getting the recording back, so I think we're good. Yeah, we can jump back in. Sounds like Kurza, you're ready to step through the portal. That's where we're gonna pick up.
Might as well. I want out.
You stow the bottle and you take a step forward, and you step through and you disappear from the room. So the others see Kurza walk through this portal, seemingly under his own control and unaffected, only to disappear from your sight. And interestingly, when he disappears from your sight, you hear something tink and fall to the ground, and you look, and behind Kurza is the bottle, the Djinni bottle. And it did not pass through the portal. But Kurza, you stepped through and put that on hold for now until I'm curious what the rest of the party would be thinking. Are you waiting for Kurza to pop his head back through and be like, all clear? Or is there a general follow him? What's the vibe there?
Nod would probably wait until he stuck his head back through. He is skeptical of magic. He sees this magical portal and he almost wants.
Yeah. Okay. Kurza, you step through into an odd, familiar sound and smelling forest that is currently in the middle of the night, and you hear the chirping of insects and the wind blowing above you. Very suddenly, as you're standing here, you feel a huge sense of relief of having a sky above you for the first time in a very long time.
Absorb it in for a moment. Make sure there's nobody else around, and
Make a wisdom check, please.
then since nobody else is coming through, I put my arm back in and wave them through.
Yeah, so you sense that it's still and that nothing has detected you. You haven't picked up on anything. Maybe in the minute or two that you've taken in the air and the wind, and before you remembered you had a party of people waiting on you behind you. You didn't hear any distant movement. You didn't get the sense that anything was present. Even just a scan of the area, it just looks untouched forest to you at this point. It's just as tranquil
As I
as you
remember it.
remembered it. Yeah.
Okay, I'll stick only my head through and just my face. Here's Johnny moment, and just go, "You coming?" And then pop back out again.
All right.
You forgot this. Kurza. You dropped this.
So
Kurza.
So you all would see that. You would all see Kurza's face come through. Kurza, you might notice, even with that wisdom check, we'll say that you do notice that you might look down and notice the Djinni bottle laying on the ground in front of the portal, on its side, just laying there oddly. But for the others, what's your...
While I'm doing that, I guess I'll just say it's probably the evil force from the person that created it that's holding it back. It won't go through.
So what if it's in one of your mini pockets before it goes?
That's where it was. I had placed it in my magical robe of
Is
pockets, and it didn't pass through, as was the test that we added for it. You can
is
hide
there
it.
dirt on the ground? Can we just just dig a hole right here
Hide
where the
it.
portal is in this room and just bury it here? Like 6
Yeah.
inches down under the dirt in the corner of the room.
Sure, you could do that. You could bury it. Okay. All right, we'll we'll have Nod bury the bottle. Who would be the next person to go through the portal, do we think? I'll say for one that, what's his name? Your companion.
Aiden?
Gregor?
No,
Eliac?
would absolutely run through that thing as fast as he saw Kurza's face. So I'm gonna say that he's gonna be number 2, and he's gonna sprint through it with everything he's carrying and head over to the other side as well with Kurza. Who would follow?
I would. So who's carrying Immithra? Gregor?
Gregor, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Let's
yeah,
have
we
him
should
go
urge
through
for-
in
Okay.
case Immithra doesn't go through or something weird happens.
Okay. Yeah, so Gregor will walk forward with the body of Immithra as he's been carrying it this whole time and step into the portal and disappear.
Baden.
Right.
Baden will go. Yeah, Baden can go. He'll go through. He'll say, "This should be a breath of fresh air," and he'll step through. He's done this
Literally.
before.
I will. So Bart, do you still have Seharn?
Yeah, I can take Seharn. Bartles.
Oh yeah.
All right.
Yeah, so
You
high.
want to?
Go through with Seharn. Yeah.
All right.
That's just you and I, man.
All right.
Before I go through, I want to try to backtrack just a little bit and make sure I try to cover any signs that we entered into here, and then set snares and traps around the entrance as best I can.
Okay. Yeah, you can definitely set some snares around, especially the thin, kind of winding doorway area. You can make it well trapped with some snares if you want to just say that you've put up a couple of, I guess they're meant to be what? Cause damage to someone, or set off an alarm, or what are you thinking?
I think more of, yeah, just it might cause a little bit of damage, but it would be more of a kind of a warning that if somebody tripped it, they would think, oh, somebody's in there or something like that, and then maybe trap them or catch them in something.
Okay. Okay.
Like a true
snare. Okay.
Yeah.
Love it. All right. I think you would sense from Caprin that he's somewhat suspicious of this, even. So he's like really uncertain. He looks uncertain, as if he would stay or go. So I'll give you an opportunity, Griff, if you wanted to convince him one way or the other, or just figure out what you could do for him, possibly.
So what I tell Caprin is that we're going to the surface where, where our native surroundings are, and there's forest and trees and things that you probably may have heard of but have never seen. You're welcome to join us. However, it's going to be a very foreign and probably forbidding place for you, and you would have to come with one of us. However, if you stay here, we may learn. I've set these traps and snares to discourage people from coming into this place and disturbing this area. And I would encourage you to also tell your kind to also avoid this place, but you are always welcome.
I understand. I don't belong in such a place. I will stay here. I will spread the word. But hope will fade For the slaughter of the drow has started, and my allies will run thin soon. As my hope fades, I may take this portal one last time as an escape, and I don't know what I would be abandoning if that happens. Just so we're clear, I would only use this as a last resort, but I should stay here.
If it comes to it, you should come through and come try to find us. You won't be too far.
Yeah, I don't know if
Not
Curza
big.
named him
I won't wander far.
as part of the wish.
I won't wander far. Curza, I'll let you decide if you would have or would not have included
I probably would have,
Caprin.
just because he has been that
I
helpful
think we had,
to us.
because we had talked about
Exactly.
it before anyway, bringing him through. So it would make
You would
sense
have
if we
just
did.
named him.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, then I guess I'll turn to him and I'll say, then though our paths part now, hopefully we'll see each other again, and then I'll go through the portal.
Good luck. All right, Griff, you're
And
through.
Nod will turn to him and give him one last nod and have to look at the portal and take a big breath and walk out.
It would be a lot for you. It would be a lot for you, not thinking in your mind that you're knowing where you're going and where you've been and your story to suddenly be. This would be the moment, really, maybe Nod, that why you've been with this party the entire time, is to get to the surface safely, right? And so now you're getting what you've always wanted in that sense that you haven't had. So it'd be a really cool, I think, like, feeling for Nod as he like steps through, and then everybody would arrive in Kurza's, what we're gonna call Kurza's Cove now. And as you
Welcome.
step through into the forest here, each of you come through in the same order, one by one. You find yourself in a really just beautiful looking deep forest that sits in the foothills of the Earthfast Mountains just north of Procampur, where you see your party gathered now. I'll say this for Nod, when you step through, you are blinded by light, and you're having a really hard time adjusting your vision, which the others would find interesting because it's just moonlight, but it is like intense light to you, like a light spectrum that you've not seen, and it's like very not disorienting, but it's a little bit dazzling how bright it is, and you're not blinded necessarily, but it's a little overwhelming right now to see this much light and intensity coming from all over, right? Glowing above the canopy, something that would just be foreign to you, sitting in a labyrinth for however long you were. What's Nod's reaction to this?
Yeah, I'm sure he would be in awe. Just it's been years of being stuck underground, and now he's finally getting to like experience moonlight again, and he probably would be taken aback.
Yeah.
He's look around and like surprised no one else is just as surprised as he is. Everybody's a little bit more calm about it than he thinks they should be. But
Yeah.
Until the sun comes up, bro.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, that's gonna be a rude awakening for sure for him. But
Need sunglasses, man.
you say how long he's lived in the shadows.
I think others would be feeling relief as well. Anybody have any thoughts on what you would do in these first moments, being back on soil and on the surface?
Feel the grass, breathe the air, and then try to gather myself, and then do a kind of a perimeter search and make sure there's nothing else around, and any signs of any activity in the area, animals.
Sure.
I'll just be comfortable touching a couple of trees and enjoying the familiarity of forest for an elf, and close the portal.
What you notice is that as you all step away from it, like when you're not within a 5-foot radius of the portal, it is no longer visible. So it presents itself when you walk and stand near it, and it disappears when you walk away from it. So that's how it functions, or how he interpreted the function that you asked for. And yeah, as far as it's limited to the people that you said, as far as how it presents itself to them, but it only allows non-evil per your request is the other filter. So we'll remember that. But yeah, this is your new cove. This is going to be an anchor point. I think I should put this on the map. This is probably a pretty important move. We're finally on the map again, zipping across, teleporting across Faerun to Procampur. This is definitely, I knew this was in the range of outcomes, but it's always fun to see it actually happening. So I'm going to move you guys over up to there to Curse's Cove. I'll label that as well because that's going to be a place you're going to have to return to. I'll fix the font in a minute. All right.
Could have named it Griff's Grove, but I thought Cursa would be better.
Yeah, you could have.
Whatever works.
Could have gone either way on that one. Yeah. All right. So you've got Curse's Cove here where your portal is. And that's where the party is now on the map. We're back in and around the Earthfast Mountains, not quite in Procampur. So you're, yeah, I think you found a safe way of giving yourself a secluded spot for your portal, for your other end of the portal. It won't be the most convenient thing, but at least it will be safe and secure. So yeah, so that's where we're at. You guys, I'll mark the other portal on the map. That's what I'll do. I'll bring the portal out and I'll put one in the Underdark.
Okay.
And I'll put one up there so we know that you guys have your portal there. I think that'll do. Yeah, I'll put that on the map layer. So I think we should be good now. We can move our tokens around. Okay.
Was there anything notable that happened for his body when we all moved through the...
To whose body was it?
Or Immithra's body?
No, he didn't. It passed through. Just other objects did. It did not appear to have any outward reaction to going through the portal. And at this point, I think if you're checking on the bodies themselves, they do still appear to be preserved. They look normal as far as their condition.
Okay.
She wasn't possessed by anything, right? Just influenced.
I think we
It was an
only got some
attachment to
vague
her soul.
information. Yeah.
Yeah.
All the signs we're getting is that Veritas was
She was like,
attached to her.
yeah, she became like she's become a temporary phylactery.
Yeah.
For a dead lich. Okay. And her empty body is that phylactery. So if that would change, if she were to be resurrected, then there would be potentially something that could trigger, is the thought there. But as it is, she's just at this point preserved and seems just like she seemed when you were in the Underdark, traveling with her soul being bound to the lich. That's not changed just from shifting location in Faerun, right? It's really just still the same situation for her. And something that you can bring up to those that you employ to try to revive her, right? So those are things they'll have to be aware of.
Yeah. That may require
Um,
an exorcism first.
Of sorts.
It's night.
Do we want to wait
Yeah.
till morning to
Yeah.
move on?
Yeah, that's what I was going to suggest. I look at the stars, and I obviously would be able to, I guess, recognize where we are since I grew up around here by the stars in the sky.
Yeah, immediately,
Okay.
Griff, this would feel like so close to home. And even though it's been so long, I think it's been so long that you've smelled some of these scents, and you would immediately recognize some really distinct herbs and things that only exist in this region. You would confirm immediately. And then, yeah, if you're looking up at the stars and orienting yourself, it all checks out. You feel like you're in the right spot. You know you're not too far from the road. I imagine, Cursa, this was a spot that maybe you guys had a campsite nearby, but you wandered off and did some studying or other whatever in this area, and that you just remembered this spot as being like a really pretty safe spot in the forest. I imagine you're like a little ways away from the roadway. is what I'm getting at.
Yeah. That was I didn't want to be right on the roadway. I wanted to be off just a tad.
Okay.
And if we spend the night here, I'll spend part of my sleep time trading out a spell for a wizard mark. And I'll mark
Mm,
one of the trees in kind of an obtrusive place with Coralon Larathian's symbol.
nice. I love that. That's great. That would be, yeah, I think even Baden would nod at that idea of marking it like that. Says my memory's not what it used to be. That's a good thinking, Kurza.
Yeah, just in case, you never know.
This is a wonderful place you have brought us. I think the portal will be safe here, but I think we should move forward to Procampur first thing, first light.
Get a hood for Nod.
Yeah, Nod might have to fashion some like almost a snow blindfold kind of thing just to adjust for now, as the you guys are gonna set up camp, or were you thinking you might travel during the night? I mean, it is pretty bright out. You could navigate it.
Compared to where we've been, yeah.
Yeah, it's for you. It's like completely easy to see and get around, and so it's your call.
Yeah, we might have to camp
What
outside the town until daylight or something, or
what I was
Yes.
thinking was maybe a couple of us go into town, get supplies, try to get a wagon, and then see if we can make contact with somebody to help us get dead body and stuff through the gates and to where we want to go.
we're obviously bringing him in to see if they can be to the temple to be raised, but or what can be done.
Yeah.
All
Maybe
right.
they could be
Those were my
reincarnated
thoughts.
instead.
So
Yeah.
It-
That's their alt.
is the idea then you wanna travel or you wanna camp? Sorry.
My idea is to camp and do what I just said in the morning.
Okay. All right. So you guys will.
Sorry.
No, you're good.
Nod would just perk his nose up in the air and start getting. You can see he's taking solid breaths and will start waving at people and pointing out into the woods. Not really saying anything, but alerting people per se that something's out there.
Where and how far do you think?
No, do you think it's probably something within about, I'd say it could be within 100 feet of your camp that it is approximately. You don't have a true bearing, but it's a smell that's very odd to you, and something about it is just a little concerning. Like it's like a stronger odor than you would expect, but you're not sure what it is. It's just not sitting well with you.
Yeah,
We
it's
can
Direction?
the wind's
investigate it.
kind of bringing it. The wind's kind of bringing it in from everywhere. It's hard to say.
It would,
100 feet, maybe
yeah,
more.
yeah, and it's to the west of your camp, so it's in the opposite direction of the road, but it would be moving towards you in that direction. Is what your sense is telling you, is that it's starting to come that way, the smell.
I'll move
You'd
to
like
the
point that
edge
direction.
of the edge of the party that direction and see if I can see or hear anything. And
Let's see.
I will do this. Of course.
Yes, I can see we were already setting up camp and everything. Campfire. I'm sure at this point too for the.
Yeah, I think Griff, you could try doing a survival forest check. Okay. Yeah, Griff, you start to just get into hunter mode instinctively, being back in the forest and suddenly being triggered that something is out there. It's like literally what you were built to do and something you haven't been able to do in a really long time. You follow Griff's general or Nod's general direction and head out, and you're able to come across what looks like a game trail. And off of the game trail ahead of you, you see some large bear lurking about. They don't seem to notice you. You're able to creep up and get an angle on them, but they're right over the hill from your camp. And there are 3 of them that are clustered around that just seem to be foraging for food. But definitely you confirmed that Nod's smell is working because they weren't that far from your camp relative, but they don't seem like they're a particular threat right now.
They're adults or
Yeah,
cubs? Okay.
yeah, they're adult.
All right. Do I think that they're moving toward us or away?
You don't, you think they might be like slowly moving in your direction, but they're not heading straight in your direction. They're sticking along the edge of a meadow where they're finding some berries and stuff, right? So they seem they're content to find other food sources. But yeah, I think again it starts to hit you that you're back really in the wild, in a different kind of wild. But yeah, they maintain their distance, and again, unless you try to engage with them, they don't seem to try to be seeking out your group.
Are we? I guess we're downwind then, since Nod
Yeah,
smelled them first.
yeah.
Okay. I'll just try to move quietly back to the group and in whisper, just tell them what I've seen. There's bears in this direction. If we see them, stay back from me, and I'll try to get them to move off. But it's best to not to let them be.
Yeah, and
He said.
yeah, and this is where you guys would all see Griff in his element, just easily able to find these trails as well and find the quickest way through little valleys and places like that. If you guys decide to relocate your camp or whatever you want to do, as far as that's concerned, you can find a safe spot and get set up for the night. Does anybody have anything they wanted to do before you're camping for the evening or in preparation for?
I already did the
Maybe
wizard
instead of
mark.
the bears, could we bug? Nod would try to bug Griff to try to find him some meat. He's tired of the meager dry rations that we've been eating. The mention of the bear, he'd be willing to go fight the bear because meat.
Never
It
had
would
a
be
bear
a big
before.
it would be a big meal. It would be certainly be a big meal.
For either you or the bear, one of the two.
Of course, we have 7 mouths to feed.
Yeah, I would. So I guess my suggestion would be if there's bears in the area, it's probably not a good idea to hunt. But I could forage and find some tasty things around that aren't rations.
And then you see Griff return with a mushroom, and everyone like gets this sad feeling for Caprin. So yeah, you can definitely forage. That's certainly, again, Griff, it's your backyard at this point, so you have a good read of it. I think you would also be aware of the fact that there are things that are predators of bears out here as well, not just yourselves. If you do get in an altercation with the bears, you may attract other predators, things like that. But it's all within our range of options here. If you guys do pursue a bear hunt, I'm down for that too. But what's the
I'm not.
okay? All right. That being said, then I guess we'll do party or watch order will be what for the evening? Just go alphabetical order.
I'll take
Yeah.
first watch or whatever. I don't know.
Let's see how.
I only need 4 hours sleep.
Okay, you're one of the elves, so we got one. We basically then just need 3 of you. So we'll have Kurza go first since he can do half of it, and then I'll have Griff and Bart. How's that sound?
Sounds good.
Yep.
All right.
122.
Yeah. You can take them. You guys can take them. See.
Do we have any healing before we crash out and reset?
Let's see what I have left. So we still haven't rested since the Holder encounter.
The beholder, huh?
I do have 3 castings of Cure Light left.
I'm down. I'm 38 out of 51.
Yeah, I'm 20 out of 38. Okay, I could use one as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Maybe
okay.
maybe hit Nod first.
All right. We'll give 2 to Nod.
Oh, he's
2
handing
again,
out
and
twos.
Oh,
Thanks, Bart.
hey, we got astonishing fortune.
It's 2s all night. Yeah.
Still got 25 minutes. Might as well.
Yeah, hit an astonishing fortune.
Yeah.
All right.
We may need it.
We'll
we got
burn one of
full-
them. See if it gets
Yeah.
any better.
Hey, 2.
There you go.
So-
All right. So you got a
You get a total of 8.
Oh, there you go.
And I think that burns my cure lights then. Until the morning.
All right, so I'm only down 6 now.
All right. One thing that is also obvious to you right away, Griff, and the others eventually, is that the seasons are, it looks like the season is getting ready to transition. It's late summer, early fall right now, and it's getting cooler out. And at this point in the night, it's pretty cool, cooler than the cave was right now. So I think that would be maybe the first thing to be different as well, is the temperature is no longer 55 degrees all the time. It's dipped down a little bit here, and the wind is moving the air a lot more, and you just feel more open and everything, but a little more exposed all of a sudden too, as you guys set up camp for the night and you get in and you set up your watches. It's different. I think at first it might be overwhelming to be back and just to sit there and listen to the noises and see the trees and things. But eventually you would drift off and get some rest. And really during the night, not much goes bump, except for in the middle of the night, Bart, you actually have this feeling, and you feel like you're waking up, and as you're waking up, you open your eyes, you have another vision, and you're back in this bright field, and this outline of some warrior or hero that apparently seems to be standing off in the grass, the tall grass, and in the mist there's sort of wind blowing around, and in the mist, face of Veridis appear once more, and this time you hear it speak to you, and it sends a chill down your spine. And what it says to you is, "Seek the cold flame where the sun never rises, where shadows move but time stands still. A mirror of flesh made not for faces, where blood runs backward, follow the chill." And this echoes in your mind for a moment as he's staring at you, and his eyes are getting bigger and closer to you before you blink once, and suddenly you're back in Kurza's Cove, in waking up in a cold sweat, maybe handing off, I think, your watch from Griff to yourself. Griff, you might notice Bart sit up suddenly from this.
Bart, are you okay?
Bart goes over to Immithra's body and starts to cast Remove Curse. It's to see if anything happens. He's freaked out by this.
Yeah.
His visions before were a bit more abstract and suggestive. This seemed like pointed and quite personal, so he's not quite sure what to make of it.
He definitely would get the feeling from Lyra that their souls are intertwined somehow right now, and that there will be, that something is yet to determine who will win, occupying this one soul, if you will, this one vessel. That's the inner feeling that Bart would have about it.
So he might describe what he's doing as he's casting Remove Curse on Immithra's body, not entirely expecting it to work, but maybe mumbling a little bit about the vision that he had and what woke him up and why he's startled.
Yeah, Kurza would be awake. I think others would be awake, and you would all notice Bart being a little rattled by this and concerned for Immithra and potentially whatever's going on with her, and even Seharn could be intertwined in this. He's just concerned about their lost souls right now and the struggle that they're going through. With that, I'm gonna bring us to the early dusk hour, where everyone's pretty much going to be stirred awake by this, maybe a little bit earlier than what you had hoped, but feeling more well rested than you felt in a long time, and waking up with dew on your clothing and feeling again like a surface dweller. How would the party like to proceed?
I guess my thought was a couple of us go to town, get supplies, make contacts, maybe get a wagon and come back. And I mean, like I said, make contacts to make
Well,
arrangements
that's like a
for.
full day. We could be there in half a day.
Yep, we should stick together, says Baden. We've
Okay.
come this
Yeah, let's
far.
just go in.
All right.
We have the bodies. They're only going to be stay fresh for a while. Her soul is at risk. We need to keep moving. And besides, if we're bringing in this fashion, we can probably, it'll look less suspicious than if we have to go get a cart to come get them to bring them in. So we're in combat and we've gotten free and we want to get them to the healer's temple.
All right. I imagine then you're
I'm good
gonna
with that.
march. All right. So you guys begin.
So
Go ahead.
I guess one last thing before we get on the actual road where we're gonna run into potentially travelers and things. How does Nod look?
Yeah, he
look
has
like?
somehow finished. He fashioned some kind of glasses per se to help with the blinding sun that is now rising, and he's in a large black cloak he got from one of the minotaurs. He is probably trying to look a little bit more humanoid at this point because he does not want to.
You should probably cover
The
our tracks.
question is,
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
I'll try to
that's
I
disguise
guess
it as we get toward the road too. But go ahead, Nod.
the question would be how much stuff he's carrying too, because at this point he would have 2 chests and a handful of variety of things, so it'd be hard to hide his height per se whenever he's having
Yeah.
to carry all this extra stuff and
Can we
balance
distribute
while
it?
doing it.
Yeah, because I can carry
Mm.
quite a bit as well.
We've got the 2 chests, right? So there's probably
There's 3.
There used to be
No, 2
5,
chests.
so
That's
I don't
right.
know how
There's
many
2.
we left behind.
I think we only needed 3 to take all the gold. We had 1,500.
You left one
and
behind
each
that
chest
I
can
know
hold
of.
5.
There was one that had to
Right.
get
So we have
dropped.
2 chests at least.
Yeah.
At least 2 chests with 5,000 each.
and the chests are probably worth a fair amount in and of themselves, regardless of
Yeah,
content.
they were coral chests.
Yeah,
And I know
so
we had all 5 of them at one point because we had 25,000 gold minus.
It's worth more when you have the whole
5,000
set.
Nod was
More collectible that way. But yeah, no, you guys definitely brought some. You left a little bit behind. But yeah, it's a good point how Nod presents and carries himself from this point forward for the rest of the party will be notable because it's not a common thing to see a minotaur at all in Faerun, and that you're going to stand out like a sore thumb. But Nod is particularly good about his appearance. He's very good in finding subtle ways to just look like as inconspicuous as he can. But at the same time, again, it's just something that would be on your minds just to make sure that he's not getting extra attention. People will have a negative reaction, you imagine, in Procampur and other places to him because of his how uncommon he would be and the way he would be perceived. So just something to think about. But for now, you're able to make your way to the roadway and by foot towards Procampur. And as you're moving along, you get onto the roadway and you make some. I think it would feel like the wind would be behind your back as you're walking and back on the surface and heading towards Procampur with so much hope. There's so much that you want to do when you get there, right? So I think everybody would be moving pretty quickly and feeling pretty optimistic, particularly from where you were 24 hours before, deep down in the depths. You make your way, and eventually you get to a point where you're starting to notice ahead of you that there is what appears to be a heavy fog ahead. And sure enough, as you're getting closer to Procampur, Griff, your ranger senses are tingling that this may be the Vale, and that the Vale may be coming to town, and that your arrival and the Vale's arrival might be, it's that light misty fog that comes before the Vale, where you know you're either on the tail end of a couple days or you're on the cusp of the beginning of it. That would be of interest as you guys are approaching Procampur. You do pass a few travelers on the road. I think, again, you're not trying to raise a suspicion or engage anyone. And for the most part, you're seeing just normal traders, commoners, and others on Faerunians traveling about, but nothing notable that really prevents you from reaching the gates, the city gate of Procampur. This is a blast from the past because we have used this before, and I just had to delete Ronnie and Immithra and someone else who were here originally when we came through the gate the first time. I had them all still on the map from our original pass through the gate. They were here that session. It's cool to bring this back up and refresh it with the current group and see how much has changed. But you do approach the gate. I think I'll let you guys talk about if there's any strategy to how you'll approach the gate. But as you're getting closer to the gate, you do see that there are some others in front of you. So there's a small line that's formed. And so you've got a moment to get yourselves together as you get towards the front.
Where are we entering? What district or area?
That's a good question. The gate, there's two main gates. This would be the eastern gate. Let me move you to the map real quick. But this, I think, is the way to, right down here would be your entrance. This east to Serlagal, I believe that is. Because that's where Curse's Cove is out that way.
Yeah.
So you would be coming through and entering this gate right here is where you would be at right now. By the harbor, on the outside walls of Procampur. And for those of you, yeah, you've all passed, I think, other than Nod, you've all been into this town before, and you know that they will get into your business a little bit, so you fully expect that. It is a pretty rigid setup in Procampur and the way that they structure their districts and govern. So you definitely don't like that feeling so much. Maybe even at this point you're starting to think, man, we should have gone to Raven's Bluff. They're a lot more laid back in Raven's Bluff. Like maybe you're like starting to remember what it was like to be in some of these cities, but nonetheless, you're back at the city gate and approaching the front of the gate. Essentially, typically someone will speak on behalf of the party, but they will speak to all of you if they want to. Who will be the spokesperson for the party?
Me or Griff?
Probably
I'm
not
the smart one.
me. I've only been to town a couple times, but I think I have contacts that last time got me in, but I'm not a city person.
Yeah, that's true. He's quite the opposite. Maybe either Kurza or Bart
Adam,
might be
Bart.
more familiar with this.
Maybe familiar. I don't know if they appreciate the silver mask.
Yeah, you definitely have your own vibe. Yeah, that's true. You're the less conventional option. So,
All right, I guess I do it
Kurza,
then.
you're the last one standing. Kurza, you're the most presentable one, I think, is the.
Me and Baden. Yeah, there we go.
I'm a little bit curious because didn't Immithra make a bit of a name for herself in the
She
Gladiator?
did.
You're right.
Uh,
Yeah, you're right about that.
know how that might come up in conversations entering the city if some of the recognize.
No, it depends if they look
Or-
at the body or they want to know
Yeah,
names.
I assumed you guys had these bodies wrapped tight to be respectful of them and to keep them preserved. And as you approach the front of the line, the guard here, there's a couple guards that are standing by, and then you see what appears to be one of the city agents who comes out with some papers, and he's looking a little bit flustered, and he says, "You're lucky. We've only a few hours before these gates will be locked for the coming Vale.
Oh my, we made it just in time.
You look wary," and he's looking at all of you. You look pretty damn ragged as far as being unkept and being
We have
exploring the
been
dungeons and
traveling
everything.
along
And
this areas.
it would be very apparent to him how worn and unrested you are, and of course that you're carrying these bodies. And he says, "Tell me, what befell your friends?"
Death. They were killed in combat.
By what foe in this region?
Behold, if you know of such creatures.
I'm sorry.
A floating
Uh,
11-eyed
in-
creature.
In this,
I would say fighting evil far from here.
he looks you over.
We've been long on the
Curza,
road.
Curza, do a charisma check, please.
Okay, 1 sec. Come on. Waiting for D20 to load up.
Leave the hamster, man.
I agree.
This will be an important way of how he perceives your. I think he likes the detail that you gave, that you mentioned the beholder. I think that would be like intriguing to him. Who are the fallen? He asks.
One is Immithra, and the other is one of our other party members, Seharn. Immithra was a gladiator here of some small popularity.
Really? She fought in Procampur before.
Yes,
I see.
yes.
And what of this other one? And he's looking at Bart and the body of Seharn that you carry.
He's
Bring a dead baby.
our cleric passed, unfortunately.
They
He-
require immediate.
They
or,
might remember it.
attention. Yeah.
We've basically were trying to get them raised.
He takes a particular interest in Bart for a moment. He says, "Why do you hide your face?"
Why must you see my face?
To know the expression of the man before me and his intent. What is it you hide?
Mostly I just revel in mystery. There's nothing I truly seek to hide.
So you're a man of visions. And what vision has come to you?
This is a odd conversation for a guard check. Speaking of visions and mystical.
Indeed it is, but you are an odd one. So be it. But this one, and he takes a closer step over towards Nod for a moment. Where do you come from?
Sword Coast. Aye.
Oh, the Sword Coast. We hardly like your kind here. Listen, I would warn all of you. Keep your noses clean. Get in before the Vale envelops the city. And lay low until it is gone, or you will raise suspicion. You may
Thank you,
enter.
sir.
Good day to you. And with that, you are able to pass by and enter into the city of Procampur. I think I had you on the wrong screen there while we were doing that, but I'll move us over to the Procampur city screen now that has all of the maps and art on here. Let me drop the party token over on the upper left. I don't know if we want to use the map, probably on the upper left. It's a little more detailed, but you can get the general layout of the districts by looking at the lower left map. So you enter through that southeastern gate and find yourself back in the harbor district where the ships and Furbus were set you off, and you're back. So what would be the heading here, I should say, for the group?
Church. Temple
Yeah.
district, I think.
All right.
Yeah, which temple are we going to specifically?
I think it was Oghma.
I think it
That's
was
the one that-
Oghma as well. That's the one that I
Yeah.
remembered. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah,
Okay.
that was the one where we were we all met and we were all researching the same things.
That's right. That's where Griff and the party were introduced. It
Yeah,
seems to be it may be a common hub for new adventurers joining the group. I don't know.
we'll find out soon.
We'll find out soon, but go ahead. Did you have something else, Tim?
No, I was just gonna say we're pretty close to finishing time, but
Yeah.
are you guys want to keep going or?
I'll let you pass through the main corridor. Again, I think is more for Nod than anyone, that you would see and sense that this city is pretty strictly governed. There are factions of different government officials that seem to patrol regularly, and all of the districts that are walled off have separate entry points where you may or may not be stopped. So at times you can pass
Is it
freely, and at other times it's clamped down and you've got to queue up and answer questions. Go ahead.
who's the guards corralling everybody per se? Is it the Procampur
Yeah, it
guards
is.
per se?
Yes, there's a king, there's a ruling family here that seems to have a pretty tight grip on the control, and we'll get into that a little bit more. I'll fill you in more on some of the politics of Procampur that the others encountered, and they might be filling you in on this, right? I'm sure they along the way on the road were warning you of, hey, if you see one of the guards in the don't make eye contact, stuff like that. That kind of warning. But so far, again, you feel like a fish out of water in this city, but it's funny because I think you would feel so much safer walking around with this group because they give you cover by being with this mass of people and making your way through this really foreign feeling place. And it's a really nice fortified city with large exterior walls and large interior walls. The roofs of the structures in each of the districts are painted according to the map on the lower left. So in the Harbor District, for example, it's all white roof. And when in the Temple District that you're heading to, it's black roofs. And it's enforced that way. And that's just one of the interesting ways in which they manage it. But you're able to navigate through this. You get the sense that that they're going to lock up the city and that those in the city might be able to pass a little bit more freely temporarily as a result of the coming Vale. But you're able to make your way to the Temple District and through the gate of the Temple District without being stopped. We'll bring you to the doors of the Temple of Oghma, where I imagine you all want to enter, and you kind of park it there. That might be a good ending spot, is getting everybody into the old, let me, 1 second, please.
One thing you'll notice too, Nod, is that Griff looks really uncomfortable, and he shrinks into himself, and he's looking around a lot. He doesn't like to be around lots of people like this.
And as you make your way into this temple district, it's these large, beautiful, immaculate structures to several different deities that would be fascinating to anybody just to see them, whether you're a worshiper or not. You've got Temple of Timora is here there that you guys actually got a coin from. I think everybody may have gotten one of their coins when you were here before and had some blessings given from the Temple of Timora, but ultimately it was the Temple of Oghma and its library where Griff and the party originally met when they had crossed paths researching some of these ancient civilizations. So that's where the party will return, is to that very library where you started to tie some of this together. And we'll have you guys all returned here, standing in the library, and this is where we'll pick up next session is from here. But I guess any thoughts or anything that anyone would be doing as you enter the temple once again?
I don't know offhand.
Let's pray you have enough money to
Yeah.
cover the bill coming.
Yeah, there is that question. You're gonna have to have a conversation, and I think that you did have some contact here before. I know that someone was at least giving you some. I think Griff and Kurza were both the ones researching, and there was another contact here who introduced you, and that's who you're probably seeking, and that's who we'll bring into the next session and go from there. But you're back. You made it. What a different place.
It worked.
It worked. It worked. You're here for sure. Yeah. And I guess just for purposes of planning and going forward, Wayne, and for Molly, the same thing will go. If you guys choose to bring on another character, this is obviously a really great spot to do that, and I welcome that if you want to do that, and we can continue to see if your other character returns to life or you may lay them to rest. That's your call. I don't want to restrict you one way or the other. I want to give you guys that
Well,
opportunity to play a character you want to play.
Leave it to fate.
So
Leaving it up to story at this point. I
Sure.
have
Leave
no.
it to fate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there
Well,
there's
you can
a
still
res
be
check
raised and
yet?
wander off.
I could. I like the little guy, but
We could
Mhm.
raise
I like.
Seharn, and Seharn could have
Yeah,
a change of
true.
mind, decides he
True.
wants to go back to the deep,
Yeah.
and you take up a new character.
Yeah, I
mean,
just want to make
it
sure you
doesn't
don't.
have to be.
Yeah, that the door's open is is my point. But yeah, you're right, guys. It's a lot of different ways it could go. I appreciate that you're be flexible with that, and I want you to be able to play. So if you have a character teed up that you'd like to even just run temporarily until the story tells itself, again, I welcome that. So
And we didn't fight anything this whole session.
no fighting,
No combat.
no combat. You guys made a beeline
Just each other.
to get out. There were a lot of things
I
that could have
try to
happened.
go hunt some bears.
Yeah, almost did a quick hunt, but yeah, no, you made it out relatively unscathed. Honestly, there were a couple things obviously that are still resolved, but definitely like the shift of balance in the Underdark is no joke. The power of the creature, that you guys killed, is really wicked. It's really wicked, and it's a testament that you guys were able to kill it. Honestly, the fact that it now has rattled the Underdark is, I think, a really cool twist that I didn't even expect necessarily, but it would all be a part of the manipulation of the Mind Flayer. Obviously, he's always finding a benefit for himself, and you guys got that. You guys took that risk, and it paid off, really, at the end of the day.
Thought we were going to get
It's
slaughtered.
Oh,
That's amazing to me that after our crazy circuit act of everybody jumping off the cliff and missing, that we were still actually able to kill the thing. It's almost like those
We
shows
did
you see on
some.
TV with those people that do the slam things off the little mini tram after the other,
Yeah.
and us just bouncing off of the guy.
Yeah, and then
Oh,
it was
we
easy
did
for him
damage,
to
right?
target. That became too easy for him to target you all, but you had a good ambush spot. Yeah. I was impressed, honestly. It's a wicked enemy, and it's just unfortunate. That's the dice. It was not anybody being singled out either. It was just the rolls were led to that death, and I do like that about this particular game, and it happens, and I think it's awesome that everyone rolls with it and makes it a part of the story. It's so much fun. We'll see what happens. There's a lot that you have a lot of bargaining chips. You guys have a pretty big treasure hoard, frankly, that I think you're carrying around relative to others, and you have a lot of information that would be of value right now too. There's a lot of angles we'll role play into the next session, but if anybody has questions or wants to chat at any point, hit me up. I'm glad to talk on Discord or get a call together. I'm glad to do it. So
I might do that on the next class.
Me
But I'm
and
wondering about the Minotaur that we didn't in the center of the maze. Now with the drow going through, all that may be wiped out too. They may take care of that for us, but then that creates another situation. I don't want to deal with.
Yeah, it's like going to destabilize things. And I think as far as safe passage, there's no such thing in the Underdark. With or without this event, it was never going to be safe to go to all these dark corners. Something will crawl and find you. It's just probably smart, I think, to approach it the way you did, because now you have this ability to give yourself resources constantly and retool and go back, or completely head off in you completely go a completely different direction. I don't think that's really, we don't know yet what you all want to do after you get this addressed in town. Are you gonna run back to the portal, or you have other plans? It'll be fun to figure that out. But all right, guys, I'll let you go.
It's probably the fastest way to Myth-Nethar, so we might end up.
True.
We did promise Baden.
Baden's itching to get back to Myth-Nethar, and so he's going along with this. It's starting to get a little bit more probably noticeable that he's growing a little impatient with the constant delay of.
He might be a little distracted by the library.
Yeah, I think he's gonna find plenty of things to keep himself useful, and just like you all, he has a lot of knowledge now that he didn't have before he went in there that he could benefit from here by working together with you all. So he's not a lone wolf by any means, but again, you know what motivates these guys, and you each have your own motivations. I think Nod would be conflicted about going back. Frankly, he'd be like, oh man, really? We're gonna go back? Just made it out. But everyone has their different perspective.
And we do have Mithra's quest to go find her brother too. So
True enough.
Yeah,
there's a lot of there's a lot of potential paths ahead of us.
indeed. Gentlemen, thanks for
We even
the
know
fun
about
evening.
potential alternate entries. So
Yeah, I had fun.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no, thank you,
Watching
Jim.
yeah,
I'm sorry,
Great
Wayne, that
fun
you had
today.
to be a
No,
soulful
man,
observer, but
that's part of the play sometimes, man. It's
yeah.
just the way it is.
And by all means, let me know if you do want to take a test run on your new character next session, and we can do that immediately, because I don't know if we have a pure plan to resolve Seharn's current situation yet, so I want to make sure you've got a character if you do want to plug one in. And again, you can test drive them. You don't have to keep them if you end up not wanting to do that and switch back, because the story steers us that way. I'm all good.
That's a good point. They may say, "Hey, you got to go gather us a shrubbery."
That's a good idea. Yeah, I'll probably.
About to
I've
run
got
off.
it mostly done.
I will
and
raise them
so
for a shrubbery.
Sounds good.
I mostly just have to plug the data into the character sheet in Roll20, but I have the paper version right here.
There you go. Oh, nice. You even got the old Seafoam
All right,
green
old
second
school,
edition.
man.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, that's my
I've got,
favorite. That
I've got a
just
supply
that
of these,
color right
man.
there just brings it all back for me.
Yep.
Oh,
I've
I
still
love
got
it.
a small stack of those. These are
Me too.
decade-old
Those,
piece of paper.
it almost hurts me to write on them with it, but all
It's
right, guys.
true. I'm running out, man.
Thanks,
I don't
Jamie.
know.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you all
Thank
so
you.
much. Have a good couple weeks. We'll see you back here in 2
Hey,
weeks.
thank you much. Have a
Take
good night.
care.
I gotta
Yeah,
go.
Bye.
cool.
All.
Thanks,
Do
guys.
well.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.
Have a good one.